Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody after the break. And you are all in the global collaboration session. And now we'll have two talks with two amazing speakers, Zoe Powell and Isabella Garcia Caffaro. The first talk will be about the BioBox project. It's a STEAMhouse collaboration with Materiom. And I'll pass the word to Zoe Powell so she can talk more about herself and her talk.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, have you got Sarah as well? Also,
yeah, I'm here, Zoe.
Because it was a joint collaboration project, so I just want to make sure you're in. Yeah, so we have actually within our slides, but it's great we can speed those up. So I am a material researcher. I've been doing materials and textile-based research for over 10 years. And then gradually got myself into working on biomaterials and working with natural materials. And I work for a non-profit organization called Materiom. We are based all over the world because we're an open source platform. We have biomaterial recipes, so not just bioplastics, anything to do with local abundant resources. And so that means depending on where you are, the materials change, the properties change, for the desires for what you are creating, and say what you would like to prototype or make, and the reasons for that will also change. So we have a very broad network of recipes, as we like to call them. So we have a material library which is open source, and you can all invite you to have a look through that. And we basically, from the beginning of the year, we wanted to collaborate with a few more UK-based organisations, and Sarah is at STEAMhouse, and she is one of the leaders in Birmingham.
Yeah, so thanks, Zoe. So like Zoe said, I am from STEAMhouse, based in the UK. We are a makerspace based in Birmingham, and we are a free space for creatives, artists, businesses from all different backgrounds and sectors to come and think about kind of new processes and ways of working, and co-creation of kind of products, services, and just a space to really ideate about how arts can be embedded within the STEM activity, really. And me and Zoe met, and it was quite a kind of serendipitous meeting that has formed through kind of shared values, this journey into kind of the BioBox, which has been really exciting. So just a kind of a bit of context about the box and the surrounding factors that led to us deciding that this was something we really wanted to develop. Obviously, the current situation are challenges around accessibility to workspaces, labs, and just group working. But then also the wider access and engagement for people of all different areas and disciplines was something that I think we both thought was really important. And then also, I think from the STEAM perspective, thinking about how design thinking as a tool can be kind of used in more of this kind of strategic development of products, and just the ways in which we're working. So thinking about how we can embed that really creatively in the ways that we work. Zoe, I don't know if you want to mention the material stuff.
Yeah, so because we've been working with lots of different communities from not just in the UK, but all over the globe, really. It was this interest that both STEAMhouse and Materiom had with the kind of multidisciplinary communities that we were, I guess, being reached out from, to, that we were, speaking with day to day. And this whole idea of it being a real movement of science, and it's something that obviously you guys at the summit are showing incredibly. And so we just really wanted to bring that to a community, and in a way with the box allow the kind of like more creative, like artist community who had been connected to STEAMhouse from the start to get involved with that. And so we have been with this box really been thinking about what we can give, what we can provide as tools in terms of online resources, physical resources, and also actually think about where, you know, it will take the individual's next step. And this is really something we obviously try to instill through different talks in terms of preservation of nature, thinking about where obviously the ingredients come from, are they abundant, how are you going to use them, what are you going to mix them with, and how you can really build upon that in your own practice and your own discipline, and then share that in a kind of it can be quite informal way with others, which is just really nice and really creative, but even just learning from those who are maybe not in your discipline and be able to share that information in visual ways. Yeah.
So I guess the three kind of whys, broad whys, then for us related to our communities and who we engage with, the reasons for the box were how can we create an accessible framework to engage cross-disciplinary STEAM materials researchers? How can we encourage a really disruptive and creative approach to new materials prototyping? And how do we openly share that kind of research, that progress with the community, whether it's the cluster that you're working within or kind of wider? What's that communication strategy to really take that forward, I think? So I don't know, Zoe, if you want to talk about the box.
Yeah, for sure. It's quite common with a lot of the work that we do, because we do so much, say, let's say benchtop research, you know, at home research. It's actually been an interesting dynamic to do this box initially from home, because many years ago, when I first started with Materiom, we had this idea of creating a box which you could all have exactly the same ingredients, and then maybe make them within a classroom setting where everyone would have the same box and be able to see that. Whereas this has obviously been completely different, where we know we all have the same thing, but we have a completely different environment and completely different variables that we're dealing with. So inside the box are some typical tools that we'd use with biomaterial making. So we have the different ingredients, and we basically selected 2 recipes from the Materiom material library that we thought would be adaptable to the different needs and ideas that we knew that the participants were interested in testing in terms of materials, biomaterial development. And we had things like measuring tools. We included pH testers, so they could test the water depending on where they were in the UK. Really interesting, results there and data to collect from that. And then also we had sessions with different individuals, which especially another tutor called Chris, who was actually talking more with us about the testing side of the materials and what we could do about testing the materials and their properties at home. So even just thinking about those tools that we could provide was amazing, and this really led on to being structured around some live group sessions and having a communal sort of data sharing platform, which was monday.com. And we were able to send a form out to every single participant where they could record the data, everyone could see each other's data, and we could even just see the results as they were coming in, and this data was collected over time. So this also gave us a really nice range of how people were interacting with it as a test to see how it would work and how they were finding it, and get that feedback, and have these again one-to-one advice sessions as well. Yeah, do you want to add anything to that, Sarah?
No, I think that perfectly sums it up. So so we kind of broke within the program, we broke it into kind of 3 stages, kind of like partly based on the kind of the creative prototyping process, but also very much to do with the more kind of the method of testing, scientific testing. So the first stage was kind of all about play. So it was getting to know the ingredients and the tools in your box, and just starting to experiment with those basic recipes that they were given. Stage 2 was, as Zoe mentioned, a session with a guy called Chris, who was is a chemistry practitioner at a local university to us, and he did a brilliant workshop on kind of at-home feasible testing for materials. So thinking about what you can use around the house to start gauging properties and feasibility of these materials that were being produced. And then stage 3 was to go on and iterate and look at the results of the tests and your initial experiments and think about, okay, well now how do we build on that knowledge and develop materials that are maybe feasible for solutions in everyday use, or that have the particular properties that they're after in terms of their own business, or whether it be an object, a product, whatever it might be. So those were kind of the 3 stages, and it was a rolling process of stage 1, 2, and 3 to kind of develop these materials of real interest, I think.
Okay, how long have we got yet left, Isis? Like 2 minutes? Yes? 2 minutes, okay. So we just wanted to also show you some of the faces of the people who were doing the BioBox. So for example, we have Melanie, who's actually has a chemist background, Chris, material engineering, Matt has a biology and metalworking background. We had a natural dye specialist, artist, sculptor, researcher, facilitator at university who's growing mycelium. So we had a real broad range of people who are involved in it, and so that we have a very dynamic group of people who are obviously doing this, who are really doing it for different reasons and exchanging that knowledge for different reasons. Do you want to go on to the next slide, Sarah? Yeah.
So these were just a few of the kind of the images collected from the initial 6-week program. So it shows you just kind of a real variety of the different materials that were produced. And this was through, you know, the basic recipes they were given, but also some really kind of amazing iterations of those recipes using waste streams and some of the most interesting kind of waste abundant materials that were local to them in their area. We had graphites and active charcoals being used, so we actually had some conductive biomaterials being made, so thinking about applications was really exciting, I think. And then
things that people are coming from the garden. So we just quick recap. This was because someone just asked in the Jessica asked in the target audience. So we had 18 participants, and these came from STEAMhouse members who were actually, we then opened it out across the UK, and you can see like we actually had so many samples made from the original recipes and the variations, and then kind of really established this. And we got the feedback that it was a really short amount of time, and we could have made it a lot longer. So that was great to get that feedback. But this really has created a kind of hub of researchers and people who can have the you know, they feel they have the knowledge and the capability to continue on their own research in much more depth as well, and just establish this as a kind of much more long-term project. We did have a question which asked if it's for sale, and we just said it was a prototype. It is a prototype box as ongoing research, but these were just an overview of our common thread. And yeah.
So I think go for it.
I'm sorry, we'll have to move on because we still have Isabella to talk, but I want to thank you very much. It was so amazing to learn about the initiative. Yes.
Thanks, guys. I'll put any questions, we'll stay on because we want to hear obviously everything, the rest of the talk. So please do just write us messages on here, and I'll put our Instagrams as well, which Sarah and I manage. So we'll be happy to answer any questions there too.
Yeah, please continue the discussion on Slack to move to the other discussion, please. And now we would like to receive Isabella Garcia to talk about how to foster innovation ecosystem in universities in Latin America. Isabella, are you ready?
Yeah, hi. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Talk a little bit about yourself first and then go to your presentation.
Hi, I'm Isabel Arcia. I'm a biochemist and microbiologist. I'm from Guatemala in Central America, and I'm a researcher and a tech transfer advisor. So I will talk a little bit about the universities in Latin America and how they can push the innovation ecosystem in their countries. So Isis, can you see my screen? Yeah, perfect. So I will talk about how to foster innovation in Latin American universities. So first of all, I will talk a little bit about the role in the universities and in innovation, then some challenges and internal policy changes and stuff. And then innovation at the university, specifically in my university, that is Universidad Valle Guatemala. So the university nowadays has a new role. The university needs not just to pass knowledge to the next generation, but also they need to transfer technology so that they can have a positive effect in the development of our countries, right? So to achieve this, universities have to put out its capabilities in service, its capabilities to the service of the society. And this involves partnering with NGOs, industry, and indigenous communities. For this new partnership to work, we need to have a shift. We need to have an agile framework. And in some countries, like in Guatemala, where universities are NGOs, they're non-profit, right? We need a change in structure. So why an established university would want to make this radical changes? It's 4 reasons mainly. First, because the new university role allows the university to capture value from commercialization of the innovation products. It allows her to be more agile and to meet the ecosystem needs, and find new ways of resources for financing research and education also. And it enhances the learning experiences of students, having real life experiences with industry and with community. I will simply summarize the paths that a university can take to face these challenges. One path is to create a new entity controlled by the university and some partners. These partners can be industry, NGOs, and communities. This will allow the creation of a lasting bond that could permit the access of capabilities and experiences from the partners and from the university. And it will allow also to open the possibilities to acquire funding like seed capital or acceleration funds. Another way, I can't change that. Okay. Another way is by establishing a new entity, but this time controlled 100% by the university without partners, right? And then this could make like corporate changes, make an agile framework in the university, and it will allow the new entity to have a budget flexibility. Some examples of this new model, some universities have adapted are the Imperial College of London and the Center of Biological Research of the Northwest in Monterrey, Mexico, and also the Hadassah University in Jerusalem. So to put this in context, I want to talk a little bit about the university where I work as a tech transfer advisor and as a researcher. Universidad Valle Guatemala, it's a scientific university. It offers undergraduate programs like biotechnology, computer sciences, biomedicine, and electronic engineering. And it has 3 campuses that serve as a research, education, and technology transfer hubs. As UVG started to promote innovation, we encountered with another challenge that we think many Latin American countries also have. That is the lack of supporting the early stage startups and the lack and the low number of biohacker spaces. So as an attempt to give a solution to this. In Guatemala, UBG last year started Center of Innovation and Technology. This center is an open innovation hub that hopes to promote the spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship on the campuses and on the region. We're currently adapting to the change in policy and stuff with a new entity controlled 100% by the university. The hope is to get the innovation products out of the academic framework to help them grow, but also to have at hand the faculty, the labs, and the knowledge of the university. So it would be like a collaboration. In the meantime, while we have this new entity and stuff, we are detecting projects and promoting innovation by detecting projects in the university staff and students. Also with collaboration with industry, we're designing products with contract product design and joint ventures frameworks. And we also are collaborating with the ecosystem, creating challenges for the students to solve problems in real life. All of this, we started promoting all of this in 2017. And we currently have run 4 competitions with industry and startups. Today we're running only 1 competition that it's with an international corporation that that builds car frames. We have 12 student or faculty projects that we're helping shape into spin-offs. And we also have 5 contract product designs or joint ventures with startups and with industry. One example of the projects we have, this is from a contract product design with Digital Twin, that it's a Costa Rican agtech startup. It's focused on reducing the waste of agricultural products along the supply chain. We're developing an IoT platform that uses fruit-shaped devices that mimics its physical characteristics and travels with the real fruit across the supply chain, capturing the agricultural information through sensors and generating real-life predictive information that will help reduce wastes. Another example of this time, it's a faculty startup. It's a mobile clinic that aims to tackle neglected diseases in rural areas in Guatemala. The idea is diagnosed with an AI recognition software to diagnose and then treat patients with a non-toxic drug. We're collaborating in this project with Emory University and with Georgia Tech that are helping us creating this diagnose platform. Another example would be, this time, this is a startup of a student, of a group of students, is New Food. New Food focuses on creating protein supplement for animal-based, is protein supplement for animals based on insects. So they use the larva of the fly, of the black soldier fly, and the idea is to give, to be like a green, like a green ecosystem, and to close the cycle between the organic waste and the animal feed. And the goal is to reach society with 0 waste, self-sustainability, and be available for small communities and at industrialized level. So to finish, I want to encourage you to start shaping and mapping your innovation ecosystem in your countries. And if you need help or encouragement, I'm here, and you can contact me. And remember that together we can achieve anything. We're innovative, resourceful, sales-driven, and risk takers.
Thank you so much, Isabella. It was very inspiring. Everybody loved it. People are giving very, very warm feedback in the chat. I don't know if you saw it. And I would like to open to some questions because we still have 4 minutes. If anyone want to ask anything to Isabella, you can open your mic and ask. Or on the chat, then I can read the question too. And if not, if he's, oh, awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
How many students do you have at your institute?
Good question. We're a very small university. We have approximately, I really don't know the actual number, but in the central campus, we have approximately like I really can't answer that without being a lie. So I would prefer not to tell you, but compared with the university, with the universities in the US, we're very small. Sorry, I can't answer that right now, but I can just Google it.
We also have some questions for Zoe. Zoe, can you talk about the origin of Materiom?
Yeah, sure. It started with 2 founders. Actually, one from Liz is from Boston, and Alicia's from Canada, and they actually met at a Fab Lab conference in Chile, I think 2016, and they were basically talking about how they, want to work with different communities, how they are wanting to find materials from the biological loop rather than the technical loop, but maybe combine these with more innovative technologies. So it's really started in a kind of make a movement sort of way through like a conversation through a virtual, virtual workshops and physical workshops, and then developed from there really into this idea that it would be an open source platform, and getting different community members involved yeah, so I came on 2 years ago as a freelancer, and then gradually we've kind of been building the team up and going from there, trying to work on as many projects as we can and involve as many people with different skills as we can. I don't know if that answered the question, but I hope it did. También tenemos diferentes hubs in Sudamérica. So if anyone wants to get involved and wants to speak in Spanish with me or with anyone else, we're very open. Yeah.
Thank you, Zoe. There is one last question from Alejandra. What were the challenges that you overcome to develop this project? But I'm not sure, Alejandra, who are you addressing, the first or the second project?
To Isabella, thank you, Isis.
Hi, Alejandra. Well, the challenges we have faced is really, first of all, we had to talk to the foundation of the university, to the head, right? So he said like, well, but we need innovation, but he wasn't like at all in, because making like the hub and all that stuff involves a lot of money. So the question really was, would I give my money away and I will take back what I have given, or would this will be like nourish all the community and it will pay off, or it won't? So that's like, I think, the challenge we all in biohacker spaces and stuff face. So that was the real challenge in this case.
That was amazing. Thank you, Isabella. That was an amazing session of talks.